Welcome to CNN News. Today, Scout and I will be breaking down and analysing how the media depicts Muslims worldwide. So, the media controls everything that you see. Influential news articles, magazines, advertisements, and other informative material can shape the opinion that you have on certain groups of people.
Throughout all platforms of the media, Muslims are stereotypically represented as threatening people who are involved in terrorism and other acts of violence. This astonishing stereotype is very inaccurate and racist, but surprisingly, it still exists today throughout the mass media.
So does the media influence us, or do we influence them? Well, the media definitely influences us. When making every decision in life, we think back to past experiences we have had, and the media that we've been exposed to.
An example of a Muslim stereotype in the mass media is this Time magazine cover. The cover shows a Muslim man that seems to be shouting something quite aggressively. The title reads, "Can the US Stop the Rage?" And below this large title, it says that military action could cause Muslims worldwide to rage.
This is an example of how the media influences the public. It is quite amazing how much effect an image like this can have on us. The problem with this cover is that it represents Muslims as an angry group of people. By seeing this image, the public's view of Muslims is shaped negatively, and they are convinced that all Muslims are violent and that they dislike Western people. Rather than portraying Muslims as sophisticated people, the media has marginalized, and Muslims are presented as an uncivilized, raging time bomb.
The media suggests many things about Muslims. Some of these stereotypes are that they are terrorists, involved in violence, believe that men are more valuable than women, are a danger to be around, and that they believe in killing Western people.
Many of these stereotypes are inaccurate. Most of the stereotypes we're exposed to in the media are very false representations of people. And the problem is the media generalizes. So if one Muslim does something, then every Muslim suffers the consequences. We can see this in an advertisement like this. The article reads, "The children of bin Laden." Because of the actions of a minority of Muslims, all Muslims are targeted and labelled as the children of bin Laden. Bin Laden was a very powerful Muslim extremist who worked behind some of the most devastating terrorist attacks in history.
Bin Laden was a terrible man, and being honest, there is always a threat that a Muslim could be a terrorist. When a white person blows something up, they're not labelled as a terrorist, they are merely labelled as crazy. However, the same actions by a Muslim individual will have a different impact on the public's view, and the person will be labelled as a terrorist. These stereotypes create conceptions and image that cause us to negatively view Muslims.
Muslims are stereotyped all the time, but they are not the only people who are. Stereotypes are a part of everyday life. They help us to make judgments on certain people. This is why the media really has so much influential power on the general public.
Here is an example of the literature that stereotypes Muslims.
I Am Malala is a book about a Muslim girl called Malala Yousafzai, who was shot in the face by the Taliban. She was shot because the Taliban believed that women should not go to school. This is one stereotype that is highlighted in the media a lot, and although it isn't right to generalize, some Muslims do believe that men are more valuable than women. As Malala said in the book, "I was a girl in the land where rifles are fired in celebration of a son, while daughters are hidden away behind curtains. Their role in life is simply to prepare food and give birth to children."
Images really do change the opinion people have. Since the 9/11 bombings, the general public have been very wary about Muslims as a whole, and although we're generalizing when we think that all Muslims are a threat, the media has subconsciously programmed us to do so.
Donald Trump is a current candidate for president in the US. He is known for his racist and politically incorrect comments, such as this tweet.
Donald Trump says Muslims should be treated no differently to sex offenders. This is an absolutely unfair comment that attacks Muslims worldwide. This was tweeted last year, which brings back the fear of Muslims. He even said that if he became president, he would implement a temporary ban of Muslims entering the country.
In 2015, ISIS, a Muslim extremist group, launched attacks on Paris and Libya, as well as other foreign nations. Here is a visual representation of ISIS attacks in 2015 alone. ISIS attacks have been a disaster for these countries, but have also had a negative impact on Muslims worldwide.
If there is an ISIS attack, the newspaper title will be Muslim Attack on Paris. This association of ISIS and Muslim is wrongly used. Muslim are not ISIS. ISIS are Muslims.
Be strong when we're exposed to the media. If we don't have an opinion of our own, the media can easily manipulate us and lead the public to believe in over-exaggerated and stereotypical statements.
In the media fairly recently, there was a popular hashtag I'll ride with you. This hashtag broke out after the Sydney siege on the 15th to 16th of December 2014. The Lynn Cafe was taken over by a group of Muslims who held the hostages overnight.
After this event, a woman called Rachel was riding a train and saw a Muslim woman quietly take off her head covering because of the fear she had of being stereotyped because of her religion. Rachel walked up to the woman and said, "Put it back on, I'll walk with you."
The I'll ride with you hashtag started when people began writing tweets such as this. This is just one of roughly 120,000 tweets that included this hashtag. This response from Australians shows the compassion that we can have for other people.
The only thing that caused this inhumanity was the forced stereotyping that is promoted by the media. By overlooking the media and being hard to manipulate, the Muslims of Australia were able to come back and feel comfortable riding on public transport alone again.
Although the mass media is very manipulative and influential with its tactics, many people have managed to overlook the negative stereotypes and become more comfortable around Muslims.
The fear and insecurity about Muslims is still around. If you see a woman wearing traditional attire and hijab, it is still always a shock. No matter what the media does, the public will always be afraid of difference.
Being Muslim is no different to being part of any other religion. The stereotyping that the media has exposed the public to is what has caused the feeling of threat around Muslim people.
Certain events have also contributed to this insecurity, but every person has their flaws, and we mustn't generalize. So, have a good night.